Hey everybody, welcome back to this episode of Think Live, talking about one of my favorite subjects today, outsourcing, because I think it is, it's always been, it's been kind of trendy. And now with COVID, it's just kind of what everybody needs to do. And so I love talking to people who outsource and who have companies that can help companies grow. I want to tell everybody a little bit about Michelle's story. She's the CEO and founder of Awesome Outsourcing. After a life-altering stroke at the age of 36, she had to start all over again, from a successful MBA in finance to second-grade IQ level overnight. Since her stroke, she's learned how to automate and outsource as much as humanly possible. It touches everything she does. Now she is on a mission to help free everyone from all the unnecessary tasks that you do, and get their freedom back. I love all of those words. I think getting your freedom back is so important. Let's talk about outsourcing. So to set kind of the foundation, you are a firm that you have a team of people and you outsource what sounds like you said executive assistants. What kind of resources do you have to outsource?
Yeah, honestly, it's indefinite. And I know that's the only thing I really don't like outsourcing is super technical websites that you're probably going to need somebody in India for.
Yeah.
Just about everything else, I can find and hire really, really skilled, high quality people in the Philippines to do that.
Yeah, I love it. All right. So let me ask you a question. Let's go back. I want to talk about you. I just want to kind of get the foundation. So you have an MBA, you have a life-altering stroke. I can't imagine how terrifying that is. I actually I can't imagine, but I can tell you a situation I had where I thought I was having a stroke. I forgot. I didn't know anything of anyone who was in front of me or any names. I forgot where I was, who I was. It was the most, and then I felt it happening, and then it went away about an hour later, and it turned out to be what they called a complex migraine,
Yeah.
which mimics that of a stroke. But when I went to the ER and I said, I think I'm having with my wife, and we said, I had a stroke. They did all the protocols. But that hour, right, which I can't compare to what you went through, was terrifying. It was absolutely terrifying. How was that experience for you, and how were you able to find the resilience to climb back?
Yeah, it's actually very interesting that you said complex migraine, because I had complex migraines. And so when I went to the emergency room, they thought it was just another complex migraine.
Yeah,
And
I had never had one before. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I have in mine, it mimics a TIA exactly. So this side of my face droops, my right side droops. I slur my speech. I don't kind of like you said, right? But this particular time, it was a little different because I was at work and the computer screen, literally half of it just went black.
Yeah.
And I thought my computer screen was on the fritz. I was like, oh man. And I turned and looked at the wall, and half the wall was black. And I went, uh-oh, this isn't good. So we went to the ER and found out that I actually had a blood clot that went to my brainstem and cut off oxygen for a couple of minutes. And so when it did that, it did some pretty significant damage. I'm now at a second grade level. I went from MBA in finance to second grade level. That never came back. I've gotten most of my speech back. I talk pretty clearly now.
Hey, you sound great.
Thank you. Every once in a while, I'll still slur some words, but mostly I forget what I was talking about, right? Because I can't remember things in series anymore.
Yeah.
So at that point, I had kind of had a little side hustle. I had a blog with some affiliate links, and I was doing what everybody was doing, right? I was, trying to generate some income through affiliate links, and I couldn't write anymore. And so I realized, well, I'm either going to lose this project or I'm actually going to give it to somebody else. And that was when, and I'd tried outsourcing before, but I was always terrible at it because nobody could do it as good as I could. Right.
Yeah.
And so this actually put me in the situation where I was forced to make it work. And so I got creative. I can't type anymore. So what I could do is I could sit in front of a camera and I could talk to them and talk them through how I wrote a blog post. So they were able to actually duplicate it exactly as if, I had done it. And I don't want to jump ahead. Do you want me to go into how
No,
that?
I think your story is fascinating because I keep on going because you're talking about resilience and you're talking about, you realize you couldn't do it this way. So you're doing it this way. And it's the building blocks of how you started your business. And I think it sheds perspective that there are additional efficient and effective ways of doing things. So no, keep on going.
Yeah. So the doctor told me, hey, by the time I finally got to a neurologist and we figured it all out, it had been 6 months. And so he basically said, Michelle, you're not going to get any better. So we can try and figure out how to make your life better, through technology and things like that. And so I had to, well, if we back up just a little bit more, the reason that I had the stroke was because I have something called homozygous factor V, which is a blood disorder that I get. It's a hereditary blood disorder that I was lucky enough to get from both my mom and dad. And basically what it means is inside of my veins, my body thinks I'm cut. And so it's constantly trying to heal a cut. And so I have blood clots running around in me all the time. And that's what happened that day. I had one of those blood clots that went up into my brain, and that's what happened.
Hey.
So basically the doctors at this point are telling me, hey, we don't know when this is going to happen again, but there's a very, very high likelihood that it is going to. So at 36, I was told, hey, you need to get a will, you need to get a power of attorney, you need to get a medical power of attorney. And basically you need to plan for the next one. And so they said, when you have the next one, you probably won't be as lucky as this one. So that was pretty challenging, right? To realize that, 36, I don't have a whole lot of time left. And so I had to sit back and realize, okay, what, if I only have 2 or 3 more years left, what do I really want to transfer onto people?
Yeah.
And so I started recording video. I started downloading all the information that was in my brain into videos. And what we did was we just did it one task at a time. And what happened was this snowball effect. So every day I would hand off just one video, which was just one task. Before I knew it, we had made this huge snowball of tasks that I no longer had to do, that I had given to everybody else to do for me. And we were able to do amazing things in business that I couldn't do by myself simply because I couldn't do it anymore. And I had found a way to get it off my plate. So it was great because I'd wake up the next morning and there's like 40 hours worth of work in my inbox and I hadn't done anything, which was really awesome. So I ended up, sorry.
Go ahead.
So I ended up, my friends kind of saw what I was doing and they're like, hey, can you teach us that? And I said, well, yeah, I guess. So they started giving me their business tasks and we started doing the exact same thing. And it worked really, really well.
I love it.
And so people are like, Michelle, you need to write a course on this and teach people how to do this. Right. And so I did. It took 8 months and I did build the course. It's called Running on Autopilot. And it's basically A to Z of, how to find, hire, train, and manage remote workers in the Philippines. And so we had some beta testers and they went through.
Is that on your website?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Where is it under on your website so people can get to it?
So it's awesomeoutsourcing.com/running on autopilot.
Okay. I'm just going to put it in here. Okay.
That brings up a really good point. I should probably have a link to it.
Yeah.
I don't think I do. I never even thought of that.
There we go. I'm a business coach. I'll have to
get my guys to fix that.
Yeah.
And so what happened with the beta testers, they came back and we had hired their first couple of employees for them and things were working fabulous. And people kept coming to me and they're like, Michelle, this is great. This is a superpower. I love that you do this so well, but I don't want to learn that skill. Can you just do it for me? And at first I was like, no, because I was afraid to bring on an agency and have a bunch of employees, because I can really only work about 2 or 3 hours a day. And then I have to take a nap. So I just need my brain to reset. That's just my new reality. And so I was afraid that I would let the business owner down. And after about probably literally 4 or 5 times of them coming to me and, the same people, they're like, Michelle, just try. We don't care if there's bumps in the road. If it doesn't work, just try. So I said, okay, let's try. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And it worked really, really well. So well, the missing piece that I needed was a project manager. And so what we did was we went out and we hired a project manager to take care of everything in the background. And so I literally don't do anything with the business. My project manager takes care of everything and delegates all the tasks out to the rest of the team. And it runs on autopilot like it's supposed to.
I love it. I love it. Well, kudos to you. I think that's a beautiful story, and congratulations on figuring out how to juggle everything in kind of this new reality that you're in, and creating a business. Everybody is trying to figure out how to create a lifestyle business, and everybody seems to have their own challenges, but you've done really an inspiring job to build a business that works within your world, while helping so many others in their world. Let's talk about some of the things that people don't delegate that they should. As a business coach, I'm a big fan of talking about, you have a price per hour, you need to understand your value, and then you need to delegate 80 to 90+% of everything else. I have 7 virtual people that work for me, so I can be with clients, I can be podcasting, I can be doing the things that I love to do. And so what are some of the things that people should be outsourcing that they're not?
Yeah, I mean, the easy top picks is you shouldn't be doing your payroll and invoicing. You shouldn't be doing any type of admin type work. You shouldn't be doing your own emails. You shouldn't be scheduling your own appointments. You shouldn't be prepping for your own appointments. Any of that stuff can very easily be taken off your plate. Any type of social media management, marketing, all of that you can very easily hand off. But if you would like, I have a resource that makes it super simple for people.
All right. I love that.
All right. Because I've been asked this like 1,000 times. And so finally, I just built something really simple. There's no magic to it. It's just an Excel spreadsheet. And if you go to awesomeoutsource.com/discovery tool, I think it's discovery-tool, you will find 3 little videos and an Excel spreadsheet. And what that does is it tells you to basically take inventory of everything that you've been doing for an entire week. And then we're going to categorize it by what job description is it? Is it admin? Is it graphic design? Is it web design? Is it, whatever it is. Yeah. Then what we do is we put our how many hours it took us. And then at the bottom, we're going to figure out at the hour per rate that we normally charge, how much is it costing us to do that admin work in real dollars? And I think somebody told me this the other day, and it was shocking. Like I preach it all the time, but when they said it this way, it just made a whole lot of sense. It said, if you don't have an admin, you are an admin. And so like, if you think about that, you're like, oh no, I'm not, I own my business. Well, if you don't have anybody doing your admin tasks, guess what? You're doing that $15 an hour work when you should be doing whatever you're billing, $200, $300, $400 an hour. So if you go and get that spreadsheet, it'll have you inventory it for a week, and then it'll categorize it for you. And then we'll figure out, can a piece of software do it or can a human do it? And then we just slowly get it off your plate.
I love it. I love it. Slowly get it off the plate. Will you send me all the links that you're talking about, just so I can put them in the show notes when I put them on my website today? The class and then the Excel spreadsheet. So I love the fact that you said the word slowly, because I think sometimes people try to get it all off of their plate at once, but really kind of looking at it and chunking it, because it takes time. It takes some trust, and it takes, most people, and here's something that drives me crazy, Michelle, when people say, it takes me too long to explain it to someone. It's faster just to do it myself. Well, if you quantify that and do it yourself, let's just say 4 minutes a day, every single day, that's 24 hours a year. So, you take, multiple tasks, just round up to 25, you take 4 tasks off your plate that can save you 24 minutes a day. That's 100 hours a year. That's 2.5 weeks of your time, where if you were doing, things that were, you could quantify were better, price per hour, leading activity to grow your business and generate revenue, then you're much better off. So
Yeah.
how do you, talk to people about that?
Yeah. So we actually found a solution to that, because people would tell me that all the time. And then the follow-up question would always be, well, that's great. Now I spent all this time training this person and they quit, and now I got to go retrain somebody. So we figured out how to solve that.
Yeah.
So what we do is, you have to do the task anyway, right? At this point, you haven't trained anybody else. You've got to do it. So we just tell people, hit record. I don't care if it's in Zoom, Screencast-O-Matic, StreamYard, whatever. Show your computer screen while you're doing the task and talk us through it. And so then what happens is, my team will actually take that video, and we have this cool little box. We send it to you in your email too, but inside this cool little box is a thumb drive. And so what we do is, we take all of those videos and we put them on a thumb drive, and we take each one and we create a standard operating procedure for you.
Yeah.
So that it's literally point and click. Here's a picture, point, click here, so that you can duplicate the task as if you had done it yourself.
Yeah.
And so this little guy is now your training for that task forever. You never have to train for that task again. When I onboard a new employee, it's literally a welcome email. Okay, here's all the writer videos. Grab a cup of coffee. I'll see you in a week. And they train themselves. So we never have to train for them. And my biggest thing was, people always got stuck on the SOP, right? And for people who don't know, that's standard operating procedure. And it doesn't have to be difficult. People make it this like crazy formal thing, and it doesn't have to be, right? For my business, we just use a Word document. So we use a video, and then we use a Word document with screenshots of every single step. So literally, I can take that and I can hand it to a person, and they can have absolutely no idea how to do anything, and they should be able to duplicate it exactly as I did. But here's the trick. When you're doing that video, you have to download all those micro decisions that you're making without even realizing in that video. And this is my biggest part, is I not only have to train the employee, but I typically have to train the employer, the entrepreneur, a little bit, because we have to, without realizing it, we expect people to be mind readers. Yeah. Here's a perfect example. When I first started outsourcing, I went to my writer and I said, hey, for this blog post, I need an awesome graphic, that really shows power, right? Well, our branding colors were like pink and purple and white, like the normal girl colors, right? So I came back and that was all I told him. And I got this man with his arms crossed like this, with a black hat, with literally a rain cloud over his head. And it had like a gray background. I mean, this was like dark, ominous, right? The exact opposite of what I was wanting.
Right.
And it was my fault because I didn't tell him. And so what happened was, I went into Canva and I took a look at a whole bunch of pictures, and I said, okay, Noriel, this is a picture that I would like. This is a picture I wouldn't like. Here's why I don't like this picture. Here's why I do like this picture. And so obviously I have a brand board and things like that, but we tend to, even like, so in a picture, somebody's facial expression, right? We may like something like, or we may really dislike something about that. Well, that's all the information that we have to get out of your brain in that video, so that we can make a bullet point of, here's what the client likes, right? And so that's the secret. That's how we're able to duplicate it exactly.
I love it.
Because we're getting you to literally download all those micro decisions from your brain. And that's what makes it work so well.
I love it. I think what you're doing is great. And I think, I try to have as many outsourcing people and VAs on the show to really raise awareness that people can actually run a business, with outsourcing. And there are so many things. I mean, I outsource everything I do. And I've got the most amazing team, and I couldn't do it without them. And so what do you say to somebody who really can't let go?
Yeah. I'd have to say I used to be you. Because let's face it, I had my MBA in finance, right? I was a little cocky. And a stroke will humble you like you have no idea.
Yeah.
And it's not even so much about, it was that I worked so hard for that. And that was my baby, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want my baby to be destroyed, right? Because I built this thing, right? But what happened was, as it grew bigger and bigger, what happened was I ended up being chained to my desk because I had to do all the things and be all the things for everyone. And so, I built this business for freedom, and really it ended up being a prison. And so if I can get people to just do it one task at a time, just one thing, and let us perfect that really well. Okay, now give us another one.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen is we're going to come back and we're going to hand it to you and say, okay, what did we do well? What didn't we do well? How can we get better? Right. And so then what happens is it just becomes this smooth oiled machine, and then it becomes easier and easier. And what happened was you gave us that task. Now you got 2 hours back a week. You gave us this next task. Now you got another hour. Great. With those 3 hours, take one and record me another video of the next task that you want to get off your plate, and take those 2 hours and go to your son's basketball game. Right. Or
but forget that. You got 3 hours, 3 hours off your plate a week, 3 hours off your plate a week times 4. That's 12 hours a month. That's 144 hours a year. That's 3.6 weeks. So, I mean, I love everything you are talking about. This saying, and maybe with it being 2021, this needs to be updated, but the saying, man plans, God laughs, right? And sometimes there's always sometimes a bigger plan for us, and you have, and sometimes we need to surrender to that plan. Yep. And you really define that. And it seems like you've defined the odds. And I know, how you talk about you went from a MBA to a second grade level IQ. I'm a big fan of, I don't think you need a high IQ to do really well in life. Most things in business and in life they're so simple that they're complicated. Yeah. And I always say to people, you want to simplify things so a second grader or a kindergartner can understand something. Otherwise, it's too confusing. And in today's world where your attention span is less than a goldfish, which is about 6 seconds, you want to be able to communicate to a second grader or kindergartner, because that's what the average adult can receive, understand, comprehend, and take the tools and then execute. And so I hear you saying it almost like a negative. I'm not saying that I'm sorry it happened to you, but I think it also probably ignited your ability to help define things in a simple way, which is why your business continues to grow. Yeah.
I talk about how, the stroke was actually a blessing in disguise all the time. It's totally the silver lining on the cloud. So, was having a stroke terrible? Yeah, it was. It took 3 years of therapy.
So sorry. Yeah.
No, that's okay. So I'm not minimizing that, but the positive that came out of it is when I decided to build this business, I decided I was going to make a difference, and I was going to build this with a reason. It wasn't necessarily just about making money. I was going to break the cycle of poverty in the Philippines. And so that is what really got me motivated. And so, had that stroke not happen, I wouldn't be able to change so many people's lives as I am right now.
There's an amazing TED Talk. I think it's called The Stroke of Genius. Mm-hmm. Have you seen it? Mm-mm. Oh, you got to watch it. It's about a scientist who realized she was having a stroke and documented the stroke. Oh, it's brilliant. Yeah, you should check it out. Just Google like Stroke of Genius TED Talk. I can't remember exactly who it is. All right, Michelle, you are inspiring, and you're doing great things to help other people. You ready for a quick speed round?
Yeah.
All right. Best piece of wisdom you've ever received?
You can give a man a fish and feed him for a day, or you can teach a man a fish and feed him for a lifetime.
I love it. Favorite book and why?
Work the System by Sam Carpenter. It was basically my MBA in a box. And if you want to know how to systemize and delegate things, read that book. He breaks it down in a second grade level.
Okay, good. One thing people need to do to let go and delegate is?
Trust. Get out of your way. So many people get burned so many times, and so they want to give up. But if you'll just take the time and do it correctly, it will open up your life like you've never imagined.
I love it. Tell everybody who your ideal clients are and how they can get a hold of you.
Yeah. So typically my clients are 6 figures looking to scale to 7 figures, and they're trying to get those tasks off of their plate so that they can really live in their zone of genius and give us all the other mundane background stuff. That is who we are fantastic at helping out. And I would love to talk to you.
All right, Michelle, I loved talking to you, and I am so happy that we got connected. I don't even know what booking agency got you on, but I'm grateful that they did. I wish you nothing but great success and great things coming your way. Continue to heal and get healthy, stay healthy. And that's for everybody who's listening. We all have our challenges, and you just defined perseverance and resilience, and you're doing great things. So thanks so much for being on the show. Don't hang up. And think community, if Michelle can help you, awesomeoutsourcing.com. Check it out. Thanks, everybody.